Hey, it's Jennifer Rose, and I'm here to talk about anger today. I want to talk to anyone who has ever heard the truism anger is like taking poison and hoping the other person will die. I heard that, and I've heard a lot of things like that. It's like holding a hot coal and hoping the other person will be burned. Well, when I was ready to hear that, I I thought, okay, I'm ready. Let's get rid of this anger. But the anger did not go anywhere. It did not go anywhere just from my being ready for it to go. And at that point, those kinds of truisms, or I don't know what you call them, aphorisms, or whatever they are, those little parables. I don't know what they are, but I think you've heard them. And they started to make me feel bad about myself, because here I was with this anger, and I could hear this truth, and I thought, oh, wouldn't that be great? I'm ready, and nothing. I just was still angry. So it did not help me much to hear it over and over and over again. Okay, so the first time, good, check, I'm ready. And then not so much. In this video, I'm going to tell you about my journey with my anger. Won't that be fun? And I'm going to have a hopeful way out of this predicament, because your anger is not something you're doing wrong. You are not a bad person if you're angry. You are probably smart and doing something that you started doing for protection, self-protection. And, some of it is probably something you should keep doing. Probably. Let's find out. So my story is that I ended up in 12-step rooms. I was in Al-Anon. And that's a place where you might hear that kind of aphorism, if that's what it's called, frequently. Yeah, I did. And I was ready to change, but I just didn't get a way out in that space. So here's what was going on for me under the surface, or behind the scenes. Why was I angry? Well, I was a person who had broken boundaries, or no boundaries. Is like there wasn't even a gate on the hinges. So every kind of treatment was coming through the gate. I had no sorting mechanism. I really had no edges at all. And everybody was coming on in with their poor treatment. I was not treated well in more than one relationship in my life. And this is not about blaming. It's really not. They were my boundaries. And everybody was coming in with their crappy attitudes towards me and their muddy boots, and they were, walking all over my white carpet. So there I was in this situation where I was not angry. So what's up with that? No anger? Well, that wasn't the way to go about life, is what I learned in therapy, right? It's like therapist says, maybe a boundary. So yes. So I took that to heart. And so I studied on the things that had been done to me that I retrospectively did not think that was so great. That was not so great. Those muddy footprints on my white carpet are unacceptable, right? So no more of that. So I started trying to have a boundary at that time. And that was a really, really good move for me. Okay? Saying no more of that was a really good move. But something happened with the way I made the boundary. And the boundary turned into a kind of ongoing, bitter anger. And that was probably okay, because I was like, I was like 25 years late with being angry about some stuff. So a little anger was probably good, and it helped me hold my boundary. up, and then more and more time went by. And when I, came to those 12-step rooms and I was asking these questions, it was okay for me now to hold that wisdom and say, okay, this anger makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me feel it makes me feel a little bit like I'm being grated up on the inside. Maybe not this. So here I was in a situation that I wasn't totally conscious of yet, where the anger was doing a good thing for me, and yet I was hurting inside and I was kind of ready for a change up. So I needed something else. And I couldn't find something else anywhere. I needed the boundary, and I needed to stop hurting myself. So one of the things I didn't really fully grasp at that time is that a boundary was non-negotiable and that it was inside me. I was kind of holding this false idea that it was actually a thing between me and another person, that I would kind of like push them away, get off of my white carpet with your muddy boots, and then that they I have to make sure they go. So I thought like a lot of energy had to go into holding the door closed while they were trying to push in. And a little shift with that went a long way. This boundary is actually inside me, and it's like I just don't open the door for that anymore. It's that simple. It's just that simple. If I recognize that it's not between me and another person, it's inside me, and this is not for all angers or all situations, no. But this, in my situation, I just needed to realize that this boundary was inside me, and it was just straight up non-negotiable. There was really no need to lean against the door to keep the muddy boots out, and that helped me because I was like scared. I was like scared that I was going to forget, because I had not had the boundary for so long. So many repetitions had happened. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to forget. And that's going to happen again. It's going to be muddy boots again. It's going to hurt me again. I'm going to be hurt again unless I'm putting energy into holding the door closed. Okay, so that was realization number one. It's inside me. It's non-negotiable. This is not an interpersonal thing. This is an intrapersonal thing. Okay. Next step came years later, and it was the work that I've done with my stepfather, a psychologist, and it's called the strengths-focused identity practice. And I needed it because there were now so many repetitions with the anger and the pushing that had become unconscious. So now I had this whole wad of unconscious anger. I thought I was angry all the time. It's not true. I wasn't angry all the time. I just knew where the anger was. I knew how to set it into action, and I'd done it over and over and over again. And I didn't know how to stop, and I thought I couldn't stop, and I thought that's who I was. Poppycock. That's not who I was. And the strengths-focused identity practice, which asks, what is a recent positive moment? And what were you doing or how were you being during that moment? Really changed the game for me. I learned how to shift. And I stopped feeling like, oh, I'm going to go back in time and root out or relitigate all this angry stuff and the really good reasons for it. And I was just, okay, this is a hot coal. I'm hoping it'll hurt the other person. It worked for a while. Now I'm thinking about the barista and the smile and the friendly exchange, because I get to choose, okay? I get to choose now. So I needed a method, and the method is these two questions of the positive identity practice, the strengths-focused identity practice, 2 names, 1 practice, 2 simple questions, and a world of pivots pivots out of negativity and into positivity, pivots out of victimhood and into empowerment, pivots from believing what other people have told me about myself or believing the repetitions, these angry repetitions, pivoting into I'm making myself up as I go and I like to be happy. So if this video sounds like something that resonates for you, you might like to check out my just previous video, which is for people who have the chronic negativity. This is called One Droopy Flower, and it's about noticing what's wrong instead of what's right. So you can check that out. It's in the comments. It's in the description. And you can also, if you're the kind of person who's holding a lot of stress around anger, you might want some nervous system support, and you can get a lot of that in my free PDF that has simple practices for relaxation that are super effective. So pick up the free PDF, check out the other video, and I'll be back. My video coach tells me I have to do 3 a week. Oh my God. So much of me. All right. See you next time. Jennifer Rose, by the way. Did I say that? Okay. Bye.